So UFC 318 took place this weekend, and I know that I gave this card a lot of shit because I thought that the quality of the fights on the card wasn't very good. But overall, the card over delivered in every way imaginable. I was actually there at the event and I met a bunch of different fighters. I met Paulo Costa, Patriceio Pitbull. I met Bruno Ferreira. I also met Yusuf Zalal and Justin Gaethje. They were all super cool. Super glad I went to the event. And overall, it was a really good card, man. So Tony has died. I'm going to be giving my reaction to UFC 318. And not just that, I'm going to be telling every single fight that needs to be made after UFC 318. So let's start with the main event. So the main event, Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3, went exactly as most people predicted it would go. The version of Dustin that was fighting was a regressed version of himself from the 2019 Dustin. The version of Max that fought turned out to be a better version of Max. And so Max ended up edging out, pause. Max ended up winning the fight against Dustin. I thought it was 48-47. I think that Max won rounds 1, 2, and 5. I think Dustin won rounds 3 and 4. Round 1, I thought it was over, man. I was in the fucking nosebleeds of this fight, right? And when Dustin got dropped round 1, everybody in the crowd was going in. I was actually sitting next to some Max Holloway fans that were really annoying, okay? Respect to Max, okay? But these people I was sitting next to were unbearable, bro, especially during the main event. They were like Reddit mods, bro, but they were Max Holloway fans. But I digress, okay? Round 1, Dustin gets dropped. Obviously, Max wins that round. Round 2, I actually thought Max won round 2 as well because even though Dustin dropped him at the end of the round, Max also dropped him earlier, and that was Dustin's only moment of success in round 2. Besides that, he got completely dominated. He got dropped. Pretty sure he got wobbled too on that round. So, yeah. Round 3, I think Dustin did a good job landing counters, landing some leg kicks, landing some good straights. Round 4, it was a pretty close round. Honestly, you could say that Max won this round as well, but I gave it to Dustin. I thought he was doing kind of the same stuff he was doing in round 3. And I think he landed a big cracking like body shot on Max at one point. So yeah. And then in round 5, round 5 kind of pissed me off because it was a pretty close round until the end where they did the point down. And Max just landed better shots in the point down and Dustin immediately clinched. So I hate to say this, bro, but Dustin did end his career clinching, bro. But it was really sad. I will say this, bro. The retirement package that they had for this was mid, bro. Like, why is Anthony Smith being like, oh yeah, man, Dustin's a legend, man. Like, why does Anthony Smith need to fucking, why do we need his 2 cents on this, bro? Like, why can't we get like Topuria? Oh yeah, that dog, Dustin Poirier. Oh, he's a real fighter. You know, why couldn't we get like Olivera or like Habib and like, oh yes, Dustin was a great opponent. You know, I don't know. But the point that I'm trying to make here is I thought that the retirement pack, it should have been like a Korean zombie-esque retirement. Also, walking out with Lil Wayne was stupid. He shouldn't have changed his walkout song. He should have just walked out to The Boss by James Brown. But yeah, man, Dustin lost this fight. I was coping when it first. I was screaming robbery whenever because I'm such a big Dustin fan. I was like robbery. But fights to make next, I think that Max should fight Charles Olivera. I think Olivera, coming off the KO loss to Topuria, he needs to fight down in the rankings. Max is probably ranked number 3. Olivera, he just got knocked out by Topuria. I just said that, but this fight already happened once. It ended in a weird injury, if you guys remember correctly, where Olivera like grabbed his shoulder, like kind of gave up. So it would be cool to see the rematch. I think Max would probably do Olivera dirty. And for Dustin, man, sail off into the sunset. Enjoy retirement, bro. Never go to BKFC. Never fight Jake Paul. Just right away into the sunset. Enjoy your retirement. And yeah, man, this fight should have got fight of the night. We'll talk about why it didn't earlier. That really upset me because this fight was a really, really, really good fight. Absolute banger from top to bottom. The second round could honestly be round of the year. But yeah, Dustin versus Max 3. Dustin rides off into the sunset. Max Holloway, he should be looking up the rankings, trying to get that rematch with Ilia Topuria, so he should be fighting Charles Olivera next. The next fight on the card, we got Roman Copilov versus Paulo Costa. I will say this, man. I picked Paulo Costa to win this fight, and I'm happy that I did because Roman Copilov, he just looked terrible in this fight. He was so hesitant to throw anything. It looked like he was afraid of Paulo Costa's power because he did get dropped twice in this fight. And first round, everything, I need to rewatch the fights because everything was such a blur because it was like I was like switching in between looking at the fights all the way down the stadium. I was sitting in the nosebleeds and I was switching in between the big Jumbotron. So I have like a weird perception of how the fights went. So you can't really trust me when it comes to that. But yeah, man, 2019 vintage Paulo Costa is back, man. He is back. Classic performance from Costa. Good decision. Just kind of imposed his will on Roman Copilov. Made him eat a bunch of big shots. And then once he hurt him on the feet, Copilov was just afraid to throw. He was landing some good body shots. He was trying to go up top, but Costa just blocked all of them. And I'm glad I got the main and co-main right because besides these two, I didn't get any of the others on the main card right. I got a bunch on the prelims right, but I think I ended up going like 8-14 on this card. So I'm glad I got this Costa fight right. I think that Paulo Costa should fight the winner of Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. I really think that makes a lot of sense. That fight is happening on 3/19 in Chicago. And I'm honestly leaning towards Cannonier because I think that he'll grapple in the fight, take MVP down. But he could get played with on the feet. So if I pick Cannonier, it's going to look bad because if he loses, he'll get destroyed. But if he wins, it'll be a close fight, right? And for Roman Copilov, I'm pretty sure Joe Pyfer and Abus Magomedov were fighting each other, and I think he should fight the winner of that. But I will say this, man. Kopilov's performance against Chris Curtis. Kopilov's performance against Chris Curtis is why I picked against him in this fight, bro. Because I was just thinking, yeah, Costa's been losing, but it's to the top people. It's to Adesanya, Strickland, Whitaker. Kopilov's going to a close fight with Chris Curtis, man. Chris Curtis is dog water, all right? I don't rate him at all. I think he's an abomination to the sport of MMA. So, also, my voice is completely shot from screaming at Dustin. So, if my voice sounds weird, that's the reason. But, yeah, man, I think Kopilov versus the Joe Pyfer, a boost winner, and then Paulo Costa versus the MVP and Cannonier winner makes a lot of sense. The next fight on this card, bro, I will never pick Kevin Holland ever again. I will never pick Kevin Holland ever again in my entire life. If Chris Curtis is an abomination to the sport, we got fucking the greatest abomination of all time here, Kevin Holland. Minus 500 favorite. And he somehow fumbles the finish in the third round. And not only that, I saw a lot of people saying they thought Holland won the first two. There's no way. DRod pieced him up the first round. Landed good counter shots, and he was landing big 1-2s, hooks on Holland. Holland was trying to do fancy shit, like throwing flying knees and shit. It wasn't working. Second round, I thought DRod was about to knock Holland out, man. He literally had Holland on death's door. And the fact that this fight didn't get fight of the night, but this Vtori versus Allen fight got fight of the night is ridiculous, okay? But this fight was crazy. DRod goes out there. He's just landing his boxing on Holland, and Holland's just trying to shell up and walk away. But DRod's not just backing down. He's gonna stay in that pressure boxing range. Ends up cracking Holland, dropping him, almost finishing him. And then in the third round, Holland mounts a comeback drops DRod, but he tries to go for a submission instead of just throw ground and pound, and then he ends up on bottom. And DRod rides the rest of the round out, and DRod ends up winning a decision. Kevin Holland is the biggest hit or miss fighter in UFC history. That is my biggest takeaway. And I will never pick him against someone that's ranked ever again. If you're not washed, dude, like, even DRod should be washed as well. That's what's crazy. Like, how did he lose, bro? Because he's better everywhere than DRod, but he ended up losing this shit because I guess he just didn't take it serious. He started thinking about 45-70 and shit, bro. Like, Kevin Holland is just like, I cannot rely on this guy. And I thought I was starting to trust you again, man. I was starting to trust you again. And this is what you do to me. You lose to DRod by decision. By decision. DRod won by decision. Think about that, all right? But for Kevin Holland, I think he should fight Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews just beat Chidi and Jaquani. I think he deserves a ranked opponent. Kevin Holland will be probably like 15, or maybe he will be unranked. Who knows? And DRod is now in the rankings, but I don't think he deserves a step up just yet because his win streak hasn't been too impressive. So I think that DRod versus Andreas Gustafsson and Renat Fakhretdinov are fighting each other, and I think that DRod should fight the winner of that fight. All right. The next fight on the card was Dan Ige versus Patriceio Pitbull. And now listen, when I was on Instagram, I was making some hateful comments towards Patriceio Pitbull, and I think I kind of overstated what I like. The fight was boring, yes, but I think Pitbull just dominated Ige in this fight, right? Took Ige down in the third round, manhandled him, dropped him in the second round. Ige won the first, in my opinion, but Pitbull basically got worked. Not Pitbull. Ige basically got worked in this fight with ease. Pitbull made easy work of him, which is crazy because he's like 38 years old and washed himself, which is why I was raging, because I thought Ige could clearly win this fight. I mean, he's a more proven UFC fighter. We saw what happened with Pitbull and Yair, but I guess Yair is that good. This is a crafty win for Yair now. Like, how good is Yair Rodriguez, right? But yeah, I saw Pitbull in person. He was so cool. I just felt bad about my hate post of him. And I started thinking about it. I was just like, man, I was a little bit too hard on Pitbull for his performance. I mean, it was boring. I'm not finna just do a complete 180 and be like, Pitbull's the next go to the sport, bro. But Yusuf Zalal is the next go to the sport. I fuck with that guy heavy, bro. He's a cool guy. He was the coolest one I met out of all the fighters. Costa was pretty cool too. But I'm getting sidetracked here. Pitbull just made easy work of Ige. It was a pretty boring fight, but I think that Ige should fight Giga Chikadze next. Giga's on like a 3-fight losing streak. Arnold Allen. Losing to Cater is crazy, by the way. But yeah, Giga versus Ige, I think that makes sense. And for Pitbull, I think he should fight Brian Ortega after Brian Ortega loses to Aljamain Sterling. I think Aljo should make easy work of this version of Ortega, and if Ortega decides to stay in the sport, stay at 145, I think him versus Pitbull makes a lot of sense, because I feel like you need to give Pitbull name value opponents still, because he's Pitbull, you know what I mean? All right, can we go to the next one, please? There we go. All right, this fight, bro, I really just wish I went with my gut on this one, because if you guys remember my breakdown video, I was like, I really think that stylistically, Michael Johnson is a big problem for Zell Huber, but I didn't pick Johnson because he's old. And I was just like, he's not the same Michael Johnson that knocked out Dustin, but apparently he is. The title run starts now for Michael Johnson, bro. This really made me happy to see Michael Johnson get the win. Fuck Zell Huber. He's ass. He's literally point fighting with Michael Johnson and lost. He got dropped bad in the second round. I thought Johnson was about to get the finish. I was so mad at myself I didn't pick Michael Johnson because I knew he could win this fight. And I just didn't pick him, bro. But yeah, man, Michael Johnson just showed a vintage version. Like, he always will have that power. You know, that's what Michael Johnson will have, that one-hit quitter power. I know he didn't finish Zell Huber, but he always will have the ability to knock someone down or finish them, bro. Even if he's not the same Michael Johnson he used to be. And I should have just been like, bro, Zellhuber's never finished anyone. Why is he going to finish Johnson, even though Johnson's on a 2-fight win streak, So I think that Michael Johnson versus Bobby Green makes sense. That's two people that have been in the sports for a long time. They're both unks. They're both right outside the rankings. Have not fought each other. Michael Johnson versus Bobby Green is the fight to make. And for Daniel Zellhuber, I don't give a fuck what you do with him. Just make him fight someone that will give him a tough fight, bro. Give him like Anshul Jubilee or something, bro. I don't give a fuck about Zellhuber, but the next fight on this card was Venicious Olivera versus Kyler Phillips. Man, I'll just say this. Kyler Phillips was never good. He was never good. He's terrible. Bro, I should have known that. And this guy's he got sunned by Dan Ige, and that should have been the wake-up call, right? Just thinking in my head, I was just like, man, Dan Ige destroyed Kyler Phillips. Wait, I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of Rob Font. Rob Font destroyed Kyler. Wait, hold up. Give me a second. Yeah, it was Rob Font. He absolutely destroyed Kyler Phillips. And I'll just have to say this, man. Kyler Phillips isn't good, all right? But Venicious Olivera is good, though. But Kyler Phillips is worse. Like, Kyler Phillips, he's just done, man. Like, he's got to fight someone like... He already fought Ronnie Barcelos. He needs to fight like a Raw Rosas Jr. or some shit, bro. He needs to fight... I don't even know, but for Venicious Olivera, man, my friend who I was watching the fights with said this. He's like a Conor McGregor, Dricus du Plessis hybrid. Like, he's so technical, but at the same time, he's not. He keeps his hands so low. And but every time he throws to kill. So this guy is climbing up my favorite fighters list because he is super entertaining. And not just that, he throws to kill every time. So I think Venicious Olivera should fight Rob Font. That's why I was kind of getting confused. But I think Venicious Olivera versus Rob Font makes a lot of sense. And the next fight on this card was Brendan Allen versus Marvin Vtori. Now, in this fight, I picked Marvin Vtori, and I hope you can see why I picked him in this fight. Even though I think that Vtori lost 29-28, Brendan Allen definitely won the fight, right? He was still having a lot of success on Allen because Allen is just an idiot, bro. Like, he took Vtori down with ease and held him there and beat him up on the ground. Then he just never went back to that realm and decided to have a close fight with Vtori on the feet. So, and Vtori did make it close. Now, the fact that this got fight of the night it's sickening to me. After seeing Max versus Dustin and DRod versus Holland, and this gets fight of the night, like, what are we doing, bro? Like, what are we actually doing with our lives, But yeah, man, this just didn't scratch the itch that I wanted it to. I wanted to see a finish, but I think Brendan Allen, like, I don't really know who Brendan Allen should fight next, man. Maybe you could do Brendan Allen versus the loser of Rainer de Ridder and Robert Whittaker. And then for Vtori, man, I don't really care what Vtori does next. He just needs to be out of the rankings. He just cannot be ranked by the time that the rankings are made because he just got punched in the face so much, bro. There's going to come a time when he gets chinned, and then once he gets chinned, it's over completely for his career because that's all he's got. The next fight on the card was Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Vertinov. I actually thought that Prado won this fight, but it was such a low level. I actually met Francisco Prado on the street on Bourbon Street as well, but I just thought that I thought Prado got it done. It was a split decision. I think he just landed better shots, had better control of the fight, but who actually cares? You know what I mean? Like, these both of these guys should not really be in the UFC. Like 2-3 and 3-2. Like, out of their last 5, I think Vertinov is now 1-2 in the UFC, and Prado's like 2-4 now. So who actually cares about Francisco Prado and Vertinov? It was entertaining. I get it. It was a close fight, but like, if you're actually like looking at these guys' careers and excited, like, you really need to. You have a gambling addiction. That's what I'm going to tell you. You have a gambling problem. The next fight on the card was Atiba Gauthier versus Robert Valentine, bro. Welcome back, Big Franny. Big Franny is back. Francis Ngannou, welcome back. Atiba Gauthier, the Cameroonian. If that's how you say it. Maybe you're like a Cameroon or something. I don't know, but man, this guy has the power, man. He has he's super raw. I'll say that. He will get fraud checked at some point. I think he can get up pretty high in the division before he gets fraud checked. But he's like super young. He's like 23 years old, and he just needs to hone his power into technical ability because he's just pure raw athleticism out there, power incarnate, right? And he just throws the kill every time, and it works on these low-level guys. But once he gets to the higher rankings, it's going to be questionable. So that's my opinion on Atiba Gutierrez. Very good win. He got the bonus of the night. It makes sense. And then the next fight on the card was... hold up. It was Adam Fugit versus Islam Dulattov. Now, listen, I thought I was in like a Save Europe edit when Islam Dulattov, repping Germany, walked out mogging hard as fuck over Adam Fugit. Adam Fugit. Listen, Adam Fugit is done. He's terrible. And anyone that picked him is an idiot. This was a layup for Dulattov. He has a lot of hype to his name. And he got the finish. Shout out Fighter Parallels, my editor, right? He's actually a Chechen German, just like Dulattov, right? But, yeah, man. Dulattov, he came to fucking just kill him. He landed a hook with no power in it whatsoever, just sent Adam Fugit to the ground, right? And that was the fight. So, yeah, good win for Islam Dulattov. Jimmy Croo versus Marcin Prachnio. Jimmy Croo got it done in the first round. I will say when he was on the feet in this fight, it was insanity. I mean, he was so terrible on the feet. But I thought that Prachnio would be better at stuffing the takedowns of Jimmy Croo. And I thought that he could stuff a couple takedowns, keep it on the feet, and then knock him out, right? But that's not what ended up happening. Theo Von got the takedown, put him in an armbar, and Prachnio fought out of it for a really long time. That's how you're supposed to fight a submission. And when he couldn't fight it anymore, he eventually tapped. But he fought like a man to get out of that submission. So respect to Prachnio. Jimmy Croo gets it done. First time in the win column in a while. He called out Dustin Jacoby. Terrible call out. You're not getting that shit, bro. You need to fight like Tuco Tacos or something, bro. You get Justin Taffa next, all right? Calm down. You calm down, all right? So you're not getting that fight. The next fight on the card was Bruno Ferreira, who I met, versus Jackson McVey. You were just like, whenever this fight started, you were just like, all right, when is the finish going to come? You know, you're just waiting for it to happen. You're just like, any minute now it's going to happen. And I honestly think Jackson McVey kind of tapped prematurely. Like, yeah, he was in the armbar, but he didn't even try to fight out of it. Like, think about how Prachnio fought out of his armbar versus how quickly McVey tapped to his. I just think that he kind of just gave up. I hate to say that, but it just felt like he kind of gave up in the fight. But, yeah, man. The Moose, send him 2-3 years Dagestan, I forget. And for Bruno Ferreira, good win right outside the rankings. Possible ranking next. Maybe he can fight the loser of Pfeiffer and Abus, or maybe he could get someone else. He has that win over RoboCop. So, he already fought Abus. He was winning that fight too before he ended up getting finished by Abus. Who knows, man? But I think he definitely deserves a ranking or someone just outside the rankings because he took this big step down in comp. And Ryan Spann versus Lucas Breeski. Ryan Spann standing guillotines Lucas Breeski, who is surprised, cut Lucas Breeski from the sport. Ryan Spann, you get to fight some fat heavyweight. Maybe you get to fight like a... I don't even know, man. Heavyweight is so bleak right now. Maybe you can fight Kennedy and Zekichu or something. I don't know if they've already fought a light heavyweight or something, but... Ryan Spann, ladies and gentlemen, he is here for heavyweight, man, and he's here to stay, all right? And the first fight on the card, Carla Judis versus the Kalari girl. I can't remember her first name, but Carla Judis gets it done brutally, knocks out Kalari with a knee to the body. Was landing some good knees up top before that. So, yeah, man. Overall, I went 8-14 on the card. I got the main and co-main right. I'm very happy I got the Costa fight right. He was one of my underdogs of the card that I picked, but I should have went with my gut with the Michael Johnson fight. I was always going to pick Ige because I had to fade Pitbull until he could prove himself to be a UFC fighter. Now he has, thank God. Praau, I think Praau could have got it done if it went later, but can't predict the fact that he can't stuff one takedown. I was never going to pick DRod to beat Holland. Holland is an idiot, bro. I do not understand how he lost. But, yeah, man, these are my picks for the card. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.